Hey, good morning. We're going to we're going to really continue looking at factoring expressions where that number right out front is not just a nice friendly 1, where there's some other number out front we got to deal with. So remember, when we're doing that, we have to list the pairs of factors of the last number and also list the pairs of factors of that first number, and that's just going to be a trial and error process. So to rewrite 11x squared plus 17x minus 10 in factored form, Ronan first lists pairs of factors of negative 10. So we have the 4 different pairs of factors that multiply to get negative 10. And he noticed the only factors of 11 were 11 and 1. So he started and he was like, all right, let me just write out a bunch of different combinations of factored expression pairs. And that's really our main goal, is to just get used to writing out all the different possible combinations of factor pairs we can use. So we notice that there's 2 different expressions I have, a left column and a right column, for 5 and negative 2. Then there's 2 different ones for 2 and negative 5. I'm going to get rid of the plus signs to confuse you. The 10 and the negative 1. And then the negative 10 and the 1. And then we're going to fill in. We know the factors of 11 are only 11 and 1. So luckily here, we've still only got 1 different pair of factors for my first number, even though there were a lot of pairs of factors of negative 10. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to fill in 11x and x in each of these slots. And I'm going to keep my order consistent here because I don't want to accidentally repeat any processes. I don't want to repeat any problems. I want them all to be different. Because if I have the same problem on here twice, I might be accidentally missing an important combination. All right. So your goal is really just to pause the video and figure out which combination gets us Ronan's standard form expression of 11x squared plus 17x minus 10. And I know yesterday there were some times when there was multiple combinations that worked. Most unfortunately today there's only going to be 1 combination that works. And I don't even know which one it is. So it might be the first one, it might be the last one. So make sure you give the video a nice pause while you go ahead and try out all the different expressions. Okay? Sorry, let me try to get them all on one screen. Come on. Oh, geez. Wait. Okay, good enough. Okay. So that's what we're done. So I did my first one, and I got 11x squared minus 22x plus 5x, and I got 11x squared minus 17x minus 10. Now, I don't know if we talked about this the other day or if it was just in Core 2, but really, or maybe just in my recording, but really what you have to consider here is we already know that the 11x and the x are going to make an 11x squared, and the 5 and the negative 2 are going to make the negative 10. So all we have to consider is multiplying the 11x by the negative 2 and multiplying the positive 5 by the x. Those are the only real pairs of things we have to consider, because we already know that all of the x squareds and all of the minus 10s are going to work. So we have 11x times negative 2 gets negative 22, plus 5 gets us negative 17. Now, the other thing we mentioned was if we had the right number but had the wrong sign, we just needed to flip our signs. So I just need to look at 11x minus 5 and x plus 2. And let's see if I have that anywhere. No, because I didn't switch the signs over here. Oh, because on the right, I just wrote the same expression. So on the right, oh dang, let me fix all those, hold on. So on the right, sorry, I flipped my factor pairs. So on the right, I flipped all the signs. So now that I know that 11x plus 5 and x minus 2 just gave me the wrong sign term. So if I just flip-flop the negative and positive here, that should get me the right answer. So let's see. 11x times positive 2 gets me 22x. And then negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And that gets me 17x. So this is the real winner for that one up there. This is my happy day problem. This one worked. And see, it only took the second combination. So if you have that strategy, if I know that that gets me 17, I don't need to think about like the other ones because I know that's going to work. So this one is my correct answer. And so we are going to just look at the next ones. Let's see. Oh dear. Okay. Because the next ones are similarly related to this. The next two expressions Ronan has to factor are as follows. I'm going to skip that question because it's stupid. So he has to factor these two questions. So how come he doesn't have to do any more work than what's already done above? Well, okay. He has to do some work. But he doesn't have to come up with any more combinations because he's already listed all the possible combinations that could work. If none work, the expression cannot be factored. And I'm going to hope to not really give you many of those yet. That would be more if we were getting a little bit farther in our year, we talk about that more, but we're not going to get that far, which is good and bad, but it is what it is. So he's already got these combinations. Now we're going to find a combination that's going to get us this and get us this. So go ahead and try to find out which combination gets us the factored form of each of these. And I challenge you to do it. Try to only multiply out 3 different sets to get your answer. And I'll have you pause it to give it a try, and then I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay? So go ahead and pause. As you can tell, I've gotten bored of video editing, so I'm just going to write that. Okay. It has to do with the above trick, the negative thing. So I noticed that this pair and this pair, the second, oh geez, that was bad. The second pair are only different in that the signs are flipped. So I'm going to multiply out the second pair just to see what my middle number is going to be. Okay? So let's see. I have 11x plus 2 and x minus 5. Let's see. 11x times negative 5 is negative 55x. I'm guessing this is going to be it. Minus 55x. 2 times x is plus 2x. So that's going to get me negative 53x. So that one didn't work. So I'm also not going to try this one. I'm not even going to try that one because this one's just going to get me the plus 53. Okay? So see, I only multiplied out one set, but I know that one's not going to work because this one's going to get me positive 53. Let's try out this next one. Here I've got 11x times negative 1 is, let's see, that's negative 11x. Probably not that one. And then plus 10 times x is plus 10x. Here we go. So negative 11 plus 10 is negative 1x, which is close to this, but it's the wrong sign. So that's going to be, this is going to be this one over here, I bet. I bet this is going to be one of my winners. So I'm going to highlight that in this pretty green color and then make that right here. Because I think that's going to have a positive x. And let's double check. 11x times 1 is going to be positive 11x. And then negative 10 times x is negative 10x, which, boom, gets me plus 1x. Okay? So if you're able to use that strategy, you don't even have to, like, see, I didn't have to multiply that one out. I knew it was the answer. So I technically multiplied out 3, but I didn't have to multiply that one out because I already knew that was the answer. So I've so far only multiplied out these two, and I knew this was correct. So if you're able to use that strategy, you can save yourself some time and effort. Okay? And I'll try it. One of these last two has got to be this one. So let's see, 11x plus 1. Let's see, so I do 11x times negative 10. So it's negative 110x. Oh, yeah, this is it. Negative 110x. And then 1 times x is plus 1x, which gets me negative 109x. And that's my winner here. Damn. It's on to 2 lines. Whatever. I'll just highlight this. And let's see, we did blue, we did green. Let's do this nice burned orange color. So they match. All right. So I know it starts out looking like a lot of work. I really do. I know it still is kind of a lot of work. I'm just really good at this. I know it's not the greatest comfort to you all, but it does get easier if you're able to use these tricks, use these strategies. And it's not math that's like hard to do. It's just getting used to the process, and it's just brute force trialing and erroring some of the stuff. I know it's not comfortable. I know it's not the easiest thing to think through, but it is doable. But I do know it is irritating. I'm with you there. I'm with you. So, I'm just making it look easy. So again, which expressions above show the above expressions in factored form? We already did this one. We already multiplied out. We only really multiplied out these 3. I did technically do 4, but if I was clever, I didn't have to. Okay, so that's really just what we're doing. We're just trying to do all this stuff again. I'm pretty sure I've already had problem 2. Oh no, we're only on problem 2? Good grief. Okay, that was all one problem. I'm going to page break this so that it all looks better. Okay, so here, let's make this a little bit better actually. Hold on, let me fix this problem, make it more interesting. So here's our last little set of things we're going to look at. I just changed this top problem bar slightly, and it was to make it a little bit more difficult, give it a bit more combinations. But really, again, like I said, my goal isn't like to overwhelm you, which I'm probably doing anyway. I'm very sorry. So to rewrite this in factored form, Cormac started listing some pairs of factors of 4x squared. So he knows that to get 4x squared, he needs either 2x times 2x, or he needs 4x times x. So, well, I'm going to fix this problem down here. Okay, back to this one. So we know that we need 2x and 2x, or 4x and 1. But we also need the factors of 9. So the factors of a positive 9 are as follows. We can have 3 times 3, negative 3 times negative 3, 9 times 1, or negative 9 times negative 1. All right, so those are our possible factor pairs. And that means that we need to then incorporate each of these factor pairs up here, okay? So let's see, let's start here. So we have 2x plus 3 and 2x plus 3, 4x plus 3 and 1x plus 3. And then we have to do that for each of our pairs. So it's going to get a very long list. I'm very sorry. I mean, I'm not that sorry, but like I'm sorry enough. So 2x plus 9 and 2x plus 1. And then 4x plus 9 and x plus 1. But hold the phone, now I have to flip-flop where the 9 and the 1 are here. So now I need 2x plus 1, and actually not for the top one, because it's the same 2x each place. So then we have to flip-flop the 1 and the 9, put the 4x plus 1 and 1x plus 9. And then, sorry, I lost my train of thought. My wife walked into the food and I got distracted. So we did that. We did 1 and 9. And now, oh, I missed the negatives. Hold on. I'm going to make this 2-column list, actually, because I'm going to run out of room. I was wondering where they went. So now let's see. I'm going to do my 2 and my... Okay, so I'm going to do negative 3, negative 3. 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. 4x minus 3 and 1x minus 3. And notice for these ones, since the 3 is a repeated number, I don't have to do 2 combinations of this, because if I flip-flop the 3 and 3, it's still going to be a 3 and a 3. So I guess me putting a 9 in there isn't the meanest thing I could have done. It could have been a lot worse. But like all these factor pairs, like I know it's overwhelming. I really and truly do. I feel when you're like, Mr. Roboto, it is Friday. It is June 5th. We are distance learning. Why is there so many combinations? I know. I know. It's literally the last thing we're doing this year. I'm like, I get it. I would not want to be doing it either. But again, it could be worse. I'm trying real hard to walk you through it, make it really nice and manageable. And again, we want to make sure that wait. I didn't change this. Again, I'm just matching every possible combination here, every possible combination. Now I got to flip flop. I got to put the negative. I got to flip the -9 and the -1. And won't we be mad if like the first one I did is the one that's gonna work? Like, what if this one works? Wouldn't that be awkward? Okay. So strategies to eliminate options. Put some bold and red, and maybe even a new font. Because let's be honest, I want to give you guys less work. I don't want to give you more work. I want to make this less work for you. Because if I was in your shoes, which I was both times I took algebra, I would have wanted something to make less work for me. So here's our strategy. Oh, it smells like dinner in here. So notice strategies for reducing work. Okay, this is too big. So first strategy is if B is negative, delete all pairs with no minus signs. Okay, so that gets rid of a lot of them. Because since this 12 is negative, I'm not going to get there by having a bunch of positive numbers. So I can actually strike through this entire column, and isn't that just cool? Okay, so that's awesome. Since the B is negative, I can get rid of everything where there's no subtraction symbols. And that is super going to help you out because we already got rid of 5 of our 10 combinations. Okay, the other strategy, we've already talked about it, is if you get the, well, okay, that's not gonna help right now, but if if you get the wrong sign for B, the right value with the wrong sign, just switch the operators, which are the plus and the minus symbols. So just switch those. Oh, I'm trying to fit this on one screen. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go off the window. Let me make this font smaller. Just get rid of this garbage right here. I need that. So just switch the or spell operators, right? That may work too. Just switch the operators, the plus and the minus. Okay. So what we have done here is we've cut our work down from 10 to 5. Okay. And also, like, another tip is like this one's not as necessary, but it could help you if you're like thinking ahead. So if B is small, avoid combos that multiply large numbers. So here's the thing there. 12 is a relatively small B value. 12 is relatively small. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is not going to work because I don't want to multiply 4 and 9. So 4 times 9 is too big. It's not going to work. So that's my thinking. I'm not going to do that one. That's really the only one. Like this one I'd be wary of because of the 2 and 9. I'd try that one later. 2 times 9 is kind of big, so I'll save this one. But I'm not going to cross it out yet. So I'm going to try to multiply the other 3 first and see if I get a better answer. And like you're all like, dude, you already know the answer, Mr. Roboto. Just stop beating around the bush. But these are good strategies to consider if your exit slip has a number where there's like 74 combinations to consider. Like you can narrow it down a bit. Okay? So I'm going to try to multiply these out. And yes, I do already know the answer. I'm just driving you crazy. So I'm going to try this one. So I already know, once again, I already know that I'm going to get 4x squared. I'm going to get 4x squared my equation editor tools? There it is. So I need 4 x squared. Now, okay, let's see. 4x times -1 is negative 4x. Okay, getting on the right track. Minus 9x. Ooh, we're so close. Because that will get us negative 13x. So close. Not quite though. So that one didn't work. Let's try this one. 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. Oh, interesting. It's the same thing. So let's see. 2x times 2x is again, so again, it's the 4x squared. We have the same first and last numbers because that's how we designed the problem. So I need to consider 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. And then 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. And oh, we found it. Our second try, we found it because that's negative 12x. I know you're waiting on the edge of your seat that whole time, and we did it. We found the right one. So look at all that work. We found all these combinations, and we only had to multiply out 2 of our pairs. Can you imagine if we went through all of these combinations? That would have been a lot of work. Instead, you got to listen to me ramble for 10 minutes. Isn't that better? I bet some of you probably just fast-forwarded through that and didn't listen, which I guess I can't say anything about or prove. So there's my right answer. 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Now notice, that's the same term multiplied by itself twice. So I could also write that as 2x minus 3 squared. There's a fun fact. I could have done that. And there's ways to tell if something's a perfect square. This is called a perfect square trinomial, and we haven't learned any of those words yet, so don't worry about that. But basically, there's ways to tell if it's going to turn out like this. It has to do with like this number being double the square roots of those two numbers multiplied together, something like that. Like the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 4 is 2, 2 times 3 is this. I'm sorry, 2 times 3 is 6. This isn't a number. 2 times 3 is 6, and this is double that. Like, there's that to it. So if you followed that, that might help you too. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We found that in factored form. I think I'm going to make this and this your exit slip problems. Not C. I don't feel like doing C right now. We're going to just ignore that. These are going to be part of your exit slip, and I'm going to get you started on them. Now for B, A should be pretty easy. A, because the only product pairs are 7 and 1. And the N, the only product pairs are 3 times 1 and negative 3 times negative 1. Those are the only pairs that work for there. Okay, we're going to work on solving, we're going to be making equations next week. Now below, what's different about below is we have negative 4 is the first number up front is negative. So really all the combinations you got to consider have to do with multiplying to get negative 4. So what numbers multiply to get negative 4? Well, we have 4 times negative 1. We could have negative 4 times 1. 2 times negative 2. We have those 3 combinations. So really, my pairs I'm going to test out are going to be negative 2x plus something, and 2x plus something, and then 4x plus something, and then negative 1x plus something. And then the last one is going to be negative 4x plus something, and then x plus something. And our factor pairs here are just 5 and 1, or negative 5 and negative 1. And using one of the tips above, actually no, I lied, just kidding, no. So, you should have a total of 6 different options to choose from. I will warn you, the exit slip is not multiple choice today, or at least part of it's not going to be. So I really want to make sure you guys are able to come up with the combinations on your own. So you can get partial credit if the combination you came up with is reasonable. Like yesterday, your question was like, which of these are reasonable ones to check? You had that question. If your answer is not even one you should have been testing, that's like less partial credit than if you pick one that was like, oh, I could have tested this. Like for example, if one of your answers looks like this, like if that's not the right answer, you get partial credit because you picked a good option. All right. So here's my examples. I did this and this, and there's two combinations you can test out, and you can see if they're right. I don't know if they're right or not. I kind of hope they're not, actually, to be honest, but who knows if they are. Because that'll sort of just help you get started, get the ball rolling. Okay. So, and here's your template for the rest of them. So hopefully you find this helpful. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. I have no idea how long it was. This is probably going to be your last graded exit slip. I don't really feel comfortable grading stuff that too close to the end of the year because we are not taking late assignments after Wednesday, June 10th, and it seems wrong to give you something on Tuesday, June 9th and say you can't have it done later than the next day. Like, that seems unflexible and not really our style. So I'm going to say that this is our last exit slip. It's graded. You will still have collected work. I still want to see you in live, so you're not done with me yet. Okay? This is the last time I'm going to grade. So give it your all. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you on Tuesday.